Hey there guys, how's it going today? Welcome back to another video on this channel. I'm Kenny Stahl, and I want to talk a little bit about loneliness because I've shared a lot with you guys about how I'm a lonely guy, how I don't have friends and that sort of thing. But to be honest with you, things have changed for me a little bit over the past few years, and my attitude or my feelings around being lonely is different. I'm more okay with the fact that I don't have friends and the fact that I'm sort of lonely, because I'm learning that that's just kind of who I am, that social interactions is not really my thing. I'm not really that good at it. A lot of times I don't know what to say to people when I talk to people, so it's very hard for me to build relationships. I'm kind of awkward around people and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of just learning that maybe it's best for me to just be by myself a lot and do things for myself. And this gives me an opportunity to focus on doing things that I want to do. And maybe it just makes sense, to just kind of be this solitary loner. And I know that a lot of people struggle with loneliness. After putting out the videos on my channel talking about this, my mind was kind of blown when I realized that there's so many people out there that are lonely, and it's crazy. I didn't know it. I didn't know how almost universal this feeling of loneliness is. And I've actually learned that loneliness isn't really something that is something that only people with no friends have. I've learned that people can feel lonely even when they have relationships. And I know that this is something where people have been confused because I've mentioned before that I have a girlfriend, and I've had a girlfriend for many years now, and people just don't understand. People are confused, saying, Kenny, how is it possible for you to be lonely when you have a girlfriend? And I realized that there are actually two reasons why people are lonely, and they're different. The first reason that people could be lonely is because they literally don't have relationships. They don't have friends. They don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend or a romantic relationship. They don't spend time with their family a lot or at all. And when they do go to work or when they're in public, they don't interact with people. They're just kind of by themselves. So there's the first type of loneliness, which is literally just from isolation. There's one type of loneliness, which is purely you have nobody. Right? You have no relationships, therefore you're lonely, and what you want most is just to have any kind of relationship. So I'm not really that way for the most part. There are definitely times where I isolate myself. So I do have this personality where I isolate myself. I go by myself, and I just kind of don't talk to people. Whether that's family or not, or friends or whatever, I just don't like nobody except for my girlfriend. So, but the thing I think people are missing is the second reason why people are lonely. And really, this is what loneliness is all about. Loneliness is a feeling, and feelings aren't always rational. Just like depression, right? Anybody can be depressed, no matter how good your life is. This is why a lot of times people are confused about how is it possible? How is it possible that somebody could be depressed when they have everything? They're rich, maybe they're famous, they're healthy, they have family that love them, they have friends, they have all these things, but yet they're still depressed. And if you know anything about depression, you know that depression can happen to anybody, and it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, and depression isn't really always something that you can control. It's not dependent on your circumstances. It's sort of irrational. Loneliness is the same way. Loneliness is a feeling, and that feeling of loneliness is that you feel like you can't be yourself around people because nobody understands you. Loneliness is a feeling that you don't belong. It's a feeling like I'm different than other people. There's no way that I can be myself around them. They won't get it. They don't understand me. I'm alone in this. It's a feeling of all my problems I have to face by myself. People can't help me, again, because they don't know me. They don't understand me. Loneliness is a separation, right? So we talk about connection. connecting with other people. That's what relationships are all about. And I think it's very important for you to understand this fact, that relationships are all about connection, your ability to connect with people. So one of the things that I've learned about myself is I'm very, very bad at connecting with people. I do isolate myself. I do sort of shut myself off to, like, I kind of like don't open up to people. I'm not that vulnerable around them, right? I'm more closed off and withdrawn. And that makes it so people don't get to know about me. They always ask me about myself, and I don't really give them any information. Say, hey, Kenny, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm okay. Say, Kenny, what's going on in your life? Nothing. And, I'm not really able to connect with people. And by the way, this is something that I feel like I need to talk about more on this channel, because I'm learning a lot about how to actually connect with people. Connecting with people is, about finding, similarities between you and them, telling stories with them, making them laugh, having a good time with people is really how you connect with them, and being authentic with them is how you connect with them. And you can tell when somebody's being fake, when somebody's putting on a fake smile, telling a fake story about themselves, they're not really telling the truth. You can tell that they're not being authentic. It's very hard for you to like them. It's very hard for you to feel connected with them and feel like you can maybe be friends with them, because you know that they're being phony, they're being fake. And so connection is about authenticity. It's about vulnerability. It's about and really enjoyment, because you're not going to want to spend time around people that are bringing you down, that are super depressed, that are not having a good time, that are not fun, and just, if they're boring people, you don't care about them. You want to be around interesting people. So connection, or I should say building relationships, it's based off of caring about people and connecting with them. And this is sort of something that I'm not very good at. I'm not very good at connecting with people. I don't have the best social skills. So therefore, it's difficult for me to actually make friends. This is why it's so hard for me to make friends. It's difficult for me to have good relationships with people, including my own family. And it's always hard. It's always a hard thing for me. So this is why, even though I have a girlfriend, I still feel lonely, because I understand that it's so hard for me to connect with people, and I always feel like nobody really gets me. I always feel like there's something about me that people just don't understand, and that they'll never be able to understand because they're not me. And this is a problem, because this is what separates me from other people. This is my way of pushing people away. This is my way of like shying away into sort of an isolated position. And so separation is the opposite of connection. And if you're not connecting with people, you're living separate from them. And that's sort of the position that I put myself in. Even my own girlfriend, at times, it's hard for me to be myself around her, because she is a different person than me. And it's one of these things where I still feel lonely at times. And just because somebody else's loneliness is not the same as yours does not mean that they're still not going through loneliness. The same thing goes for depression. Some people can be depressed, and their depression is taking shape in a different way than yours is. Some people are going to be depressed because their circumstances are the worst. They're going through terrible tragedies, terrible events. They don't have any money. They don't have any relationships, and they're depressed because of these things. There's other people that are depressed. They have everything, but it's just a mental thing. So for me, I feel like loneliness might be just a mental thing, and that's why I've been lonely. It's this lack of ability to connect with people. It's the feeling of not belonging. It's the feeling of people not being able to understand. It's the feeling of not being able to really be myself around people. So what is the issue? The issue for me is not the lack of opportunities. I definitely have plenty of opportunities to meet people, to make friends, to build relationships and connect with people. The problem is there's something sort of innate about me, which is that whether it's my personality, my mental makeup, my mental, just how my brain is. I don't know how I would explain this, but there is something about me, which is that, and I've learned this, which is that it's difficult for me to connect. And I'm always going to feel sort of like I don't fit in. So as I learn more about this, I'm sort of just accepting that and not really, and trying not to complain about things as much. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and complain about being lonely anymore, because I'm learning that it's just kind of how I am and it sucks. But I do want to just I do really care about this subject. I want to promote, ways of dealing with loneliness, which is getting better at connecting with people. If you really, really hate being lonely, you want to know how to meet people, you want to know how to make friends, there's a lot of things that I think people can do to overcome loneliness or deal with it. And whether you just want to be okay with it and just not feel that way anymore, or whether you want to actually build relationships, I think that people can do that. So I kind of wanted to just make this video because I sort of want to change the way people think about me, who are my subscribers, and I want you guys to know that I have changed a lot over the past few years, past a year really, a couple years, and I've grown. I've become a lot more confident. I'm learning how to love myself a lot more. I'm learning how to take care of myself a lot more. I'm learning how to not care what people think about me. And this other thing is loneliness. I'm accepting kind of how I am, and that I don't necessarily need to have relationships. I'm okay living a life of by myself, sort of solitude, as a sort of a loner. I think that it's perfectly fine. It gives me more time to focus on myself and do what I want to do. And it's also a nice thing to not have to deal with people that are sort of just bad people to be around, that are stressing you out, that are being sort of people that are kind of not the nicest people, right? People that are jerks, these kinds of people you don't want to spend time with. So, that's just kind of why I think I'm okay with being lonely. I think that loneliness is something that everybody goes through. So it's not a good thing to sit there and be like, you can't be lonely. You're not lonely enough. You have a certain number of friends, or you have a girlfriend or whatever, and how can you be lonely if you have people? Most everybody has relationships of some kind. Loneliness it doesn't matter if you have relationships or not. You can still feel lonely. And that's what I'm trying to get across. And that's something that I want you guys to understand. And that's not, everybody's situation is different. So I'm so frustrated because I don't think it's a good thing for people to compare themselves to other people. You can't say, oh, you're more depressed than I am. Why are you depressed? You shouldn't be depressed. You don't have a reason to be depressed. I have a reason to be depressed, but you don't. I think that's a silly way of looking at things. I have a reason to be lonely, but you don't. I don't understand how, so I think that we have to be more aware of other people's feelings and emotions, and what other people are going through, and not say that they shouldn't be that way. I think it's wrong to say you shouldn't feel the way you feel. Because there's a reason why people feel the way they feel, and just because their situation is different than you doesn't mean that, you can ask why. You can say, hey, I don't understand how you can feel this way, because I don't get it, because that's not the way that I am. But you shouldn't point the finger and say that somebody shouldn't be a certain way. So, but anyway, I'm moving on with my life. I'm trying to get better. We'll see what happens. I feel a lot better now, and I'm sort of just not really struggling with some of the things I've struggled with before, and I wanted to let you guys know that. So, thank you guys for watching this video. My name is Kenneth Stahl. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, and all that sort of stuff. Leave a comment down below if you feel like it, and I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.